Hi, so today I'm going to be doing a comparison video comparing my Chanel 2.55 reissue flat bag in Chevron in the black calfskin with the gold hardware. And this bag is in the 225 size or the small size. And then comparing that with the Chanel medium flat bag, the classic flap, in black lambskin with gold hardware. So comparing these two classics and letting you know which one is my favorite. And I'm going to start with my favorite, and that is the Chanel Reissue. So the Reissue is my favorite in the Chanel Classic Flap lineup. I love it because it is understated. I love how small the 225 size is, the small size. And it's just perfect for my everyday life and my lifestyle, and I love that it's discreet and again just really understated. So a quick note on the size. This is what they call in old Chanel speak the 225. So that would be the small size. That's going to be in between the 226, which is kind of the medium large or large, and the 224, which would be the mini. So in between the medium and the large is the small, and the small is comparable to the Chanel Classic small flap size. And I just love this size. It doesn't hold a ton, but you're carrying this when you don't need to hold a ton, but you want to carry your essentials. It's the perfect bag to take on vacation when you are packing a larger bag and you want to carry a smaller bag inside because it lays flat. So I'm going to get into how it lays flat now. I keep my reissue in the folded position. Some people will push this in and pop it up so that it's flat like this, but I wouldn't, and I don't recommend that, but you have to do what you want. But this bag, this reissue bag, was designed to lay flat like this, and this is designed to be rounded. So I like to store my bags and wear my bags as the designer intended. So I definitely, and look at how nice it is against the body. So what's great about it is it's so flat and it's so comfortable. It's so versatile in that way that I think it's the perfect travel bag for any kind of city sightseeing vacation where you're doing a lot of stuff by day and it's more city centric, and then at night you're going out at night, you're going out to dinner, you may be going to the theater, you may be going, out in a way where you need to dress up a little. And if you double up the chain, it's a gorgeous chain, so it's actually perfect for moving from day to night. It looks great all three ways, so long on the shoulder and then crossbody, and crossbody is going to be really convenient for hands-free, and then doubled on the shoulder. It just looks so good. The reissue is simply chic and understated. I love it. Okay, so now let's bring the Chanel Classic medium flap in the black lambskin and gold hardware into the picture, and let's compare the two bags. The Chanel Classic medium flap is longer by a little bit, and it's a little bit wider. It definitely fits more, and I'm going to get into what fits in each of these bags. So here I'm just going to take this off so you can see how I wrap it. I always do a felt wrapped around the chains on top, and then take the felt away, then open it up, and I've got a felt for this top flap and then a felt for underneath. And I always store it like that. And then, to get the chains out, you have to make sure, and this is important, that you open the flap. Don't just, have them in there and start yanking, because, you're just gonna damage the leather on the chain. That's just something to note. You probably already know that, but yeah, make sure those, make sure it's out and make sure the flap is open before you start pulling the chains. And when you have to change it, the lengths, definitely make sure when you're changing it, the length, you open it up and then you can pull it through, but only when the flap is open, because what will happen is you're gonna just meet a lot of resistance and you'll keep pulling and pulling, and that's bad for the chain, and you can damage the leather that's woven in the chain. So, you know, that's just, I know that's Chanel 101 stuff, but I just wanted to make sure anybody watching this who, shoot, I think I just scratched it because I'm always messing around like this. You see how difficult this is? That's why this bag, come on. These bags can be a pain. But look, I'm not gonna digress on that too much because, did I scratch it? Yeah, I scratched the lambskin. So what I'm gonna do, jumping in to say that I found the scratch and I rubbed it out with my finger, I could barely find the scratch, so anyway. So it's hilarious, this bag rarely gets worn, and then I pull it out and of course I scratch it because, you know, you're messing around with these chains and you're making sure the flap is open, and you've got to chain, you know, you've got to do all of this. And if you're not sitting at a table, if you're sitting at a table, sure, it's easy. I'm gonna just adjust it to my fancy. But if you're standing up and you're wanting to change the length and the flap's not open, yeah, you're just gonna be having issues. And I know you get used to it, and I know it becomes a second nature thing. But to me, that's always been very fussy about this flap. And so, you know, it's not the smoothest when it goes through those rivets. And I know it does over time, but you know, it's just something to think about. And then in terms of the reissue chain, while the bag is closed, you can just easily go in and out. It's just an easier situation, and I don't know if it's because there's no leather. And yes, you do have to worry a little, because if you do that while it's closed, the chain is going to rub right there. So yeah, it's always gonna be better to have the flap open. So, sorry, I wanna make sure that I'm clear on that, because if the flap is closed and the chain is moving through, so right here, you see how it's rubbing through? You can see how the chain will, over time, rub on the leather there. So you want to make sure that you open the flap like that, and then run your, let's see if I can run your chain through. See, it doesn't touch the leather now. So this is something to notice. Like, you will really wear down this inner flap if, let me show you. If you're just being a little too hasty when you're wearing it, and you're like, look, I want to change, you know, I want to change it to crossbody. I'm tired of wearing it like this. It's like, just pop it open and you'll be a lot happier over time. Because if you do that like that and you close it, it's going to rub on that flap and you're going to wear it down. So just a little tip. It's another reason why I open the flap on the medium as well when I'm changing the strap length, just because you want to make sure that you don't damage the inner flap, because, you know, these bags have that weird inner flap. It's like, what is the inner flap for? You know, I think one small flap or the single flap would suffice, but you know, it's probably a mechanism they put in to help keep the stuff inside your bag, because with that little opening, you know, eyeliner pencils and lip pencils and things like that can fall out. So anyway, they are what they are. They're double flap bags and they have these chains. And if you want to adjust the chain length, definitely open the flap. So I only wear the Chanel medium flap doubled or long shoulder, but very rarely on the long shoulder. I prefer it doubled under the arm, on the arm, or in the crook of the arm. Sometimes I'll fashion it where, you know, I do like a little clutchy top handle thing, but generally it's doubled like this and on the shoulder in a short shoulder. Occasionally I will adjust the length and do the long shoulder bag. So That's what I'm doing here. And long shoulder, you know, it's not super long. It's kind of a midi length, but really I only wear it doubled and on the shoulder like this. I'm pretty tall, so for me, the Chanel medium flap is a no-go for crossbody, and that's okay. You know, I just use it in the two ways, the doubled or a longer shoulder strap. And that's the thing with Chanel flap bags, you know. The Chanel Jumbo, the strap is way too long for most people, even me, and I'm tall. And the Chanel medium, the strap is just a hair too short. So, you know, that's the deal with the classics, the Chanel quilted flap classics. So now moving on to comparison of the chain. So the chain on the left is the Chanel classic flap in the lambskin that's woven into the gold tone hardware. And then the reissue chain is just the aged gold hardware, which has a little bit of some kind of pattern in the links. And it's a really cool chain. I like that it's aged hardware, and it's actually more understated than the Chanel lambskin and gold tone hardware chain, because that one's so quintessentially Chanel that, you know, it's more obvious. The Chanel reissue chain is just a little more subtle, more understated, even though it's all gold. And it's an aged gold hardware, so it has, you know, that vintage look, very 1950s, mid-century. And the Chanel classic flap has more of an 80s look, because, you know, that look and when it was introduced in this incarnation, released by Karl Lagerfeld, the Chanel classic flap, it definitely always has and always will have an 80s look to me, even though it too is based on the original reissue classic from the 50s. So these two flap bags have the exact same double flap structure. You know, the zip pocket there, the double flap, the, you know, the CC on the interior. On this one it's flat and the interior flap is black. This one's made in France. And, you know, that double flap on, and then also this pocket is so great. You know, here we are in 2023 and this pocket fits our cell phone, and it's always been there, so that's pretty awesome. The Chanel medium, same structure. This one has the burgundy interior, I love it, and the upraised CCs, and also made in France. And, you know, I call those the little nonsense pockets on the inside, the little quote unquote lipstick pocket. Again, the same cell phone pocket. I love it. It's a beautiful interior. I love the burgundy on the black. I think that's so great. The reissue has the same black on black, which is also pretty, but the burgundy is more special. They both have that little pocket on the back. Everybody knows that. That's the cute little pocket. Exact same structure on these bags. So here's what fits in the Chanel medium flat bag. So there's an iPhone in there. It's pretty newer model. I'm not sure which number, but it fits right in that flap front pocket. And it's not a max size. It's, you know, not a max size. So then the Louis Vuitton Victorine wallet. This is my favorite wallet. It's a compact wallet and it folds up and you can hold bills. It's a proper wallet, but it's petite. Then the Louis Vuitton key pouch, and then my car key, which I keep in this little Zumoni pouch that they give you with the organizers. I do not use an organizer with this bag. And if I have to, I have this little mini med kit. It has like tooth floss, tissues, and some like little hair stuff, and, you know, a little lip gloss in there, and that will go in there. And then it all fits in there pretty well. The medium, you know, you can fit makeup in there. You can fit more than you can in the reissue for sure. And there's room on top there, so you can definitely fit additional things on top, especially like a little skinny makeup kit would be great. So anyway, just a little note about the Victorine wallet. This is my favorite wallet. I do not buy a lot of SLGs. I really wear them and wear them down. This Victorine wallet is in pristine condition. It's tiny, and I bought it, I don't even know how many years ago. I think it is 3 years old, and it looks brand new. And I will wear this wallet until it starts to show wear or whatever. I'm not big into SLGs, and so I'm really happy with that wallet. So the Reissue 225 size, it is small, and it's not going to fit as much. It's great. It fits the phone, just has so much room for the phone in that little front flat pocket. But on the inside, you're going to find that there's the Victorine wallet again, that it just fits that wallet and fits the key pouch and then the car key. And that's really, if you're going to have your phone in your purse, this is really what it's going to fit. And you could probably fit a skinny, kind of like a little mini pencil case, makeup style holder, that little mini style that you can just put on top for makeup, lipstick, and stuff like that. But this amount is really perfect. And I love how you can see the beautiful aged calfskin leather. And I love that it's matte. This leather is a matte finish, and that's why I chose this reissue, because it just has such a clean, pristine look, and I love that. So here I am trying to stuff this little mini med kit / makeup mini case in there, and it really bulges it out, especially with the phone. See, it doesn't even close, so you'd have to take that out or the phone out, and probably just that. It would be better to stack the makeup case on top, and you'd need like a little narrow, kind of cylindrical shaped makeup case for the top. So I'm always going to reach for the Reissue over the Chanel medium classic flat, because the Reissue is just more understated. It doesn't have the double CC logo, and I like that. I mean, the CC logo is not that big a deal. I mean, in the world of logos and designer bags, logos get a lot more in your face than that. But if you want to be very understated, then, I'm going to be reaching for the Chanel Reissue over the Chanel Classic Flap. I do think that sometimes the Chanel Classic Flap can look a little stodgy, and I think you really need to dress down the Classic Flap to bring up it more up to date and make it look a little more fresh. I think when you try to dress up and you add the Chanel Classic Flap, that's when you can get into stodgy territory. So what I would do is I would dress down the Classic Flap, wear it casually, and it becomes more fun. The Reissue is some bag that you can definitely wear casually, and you can also dress it up at night, but it's a little more low-key, it's a little more cool, it's not in your face. It has that low-key, understated vibe, and it really goes with everything. And I love the chevron. In terms of Chanel, chevron is my favorite. And so to get a low-key Reissue and chevron in a matte calfskin that's slightly aged leather, it's a no-brainer for me. Ultimately, if you like the Chanel Classic Flap and the Chanel Reissue, you'll have both in your collection, and likely multiples in different colors. I'd love to know which one you like. Do you like the Chanel Medium or the Chanel Reissue? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.